Today we're going to be repairing the rusted out window channel around the rear windshield. So now it's time to turn our attention to the troubles at the back half of the car. As you can see, the channel around the rear windshield is pretty badly rusted out in the corners. In order to get a better idea of how these panels fit together and what needs to be repaired, I removed the lead that was used to cover the seams where the panels were welded together. This let me see that there was a long L-shaped bracket running the length of the rear window at the bottom. I'll start by drilling out the spot welds that hold this in place. This piece has a few rust holes in it, but it can easily be salvaged. Once this is out, I can get a better idea of the condition of the panel behind it. This is part of the fill panel between the rear windshield and the trunk lid. I've heard some people refer to this as a Dutchman panel. I got to fabricating the curved L-shaped channel at the corner of the windshield. I made myself a cardboard template so that I could get the profile just right and use the shrinker to start shaping it. Here it is showing how well the profile fits. I cut out the rusted area only after I was happy with the part I fabricated. I trimmed the piece so that it was close to the final fitment, but I didn't want to weld it in until I figured out what I was going to do with the rear section across the bottom of the windshield. I decided the area was damaged badly enough that I would cut out a long strip across the entire bottom, approximately 1 inch wide, and follow the contour of the panel. Now I just needed to make a patch to weld in. I thought I would cut out a straight strip, a little bit wider than what I had cut out, and use the shrinker to shape the piece to match the contour of the panel. This proved to be much more difficult than it sounds. I could not get this piece to fit the way I wanted it, so on to plan B. I decided to make a template using paper and tape and cut the patch out so that it would match the contour of the opening. This is something that I've done dozens of times, so what could go wrong? Well, I guess I've never made a patch this long and narrow, because when I went to match it up, it was nowhere near the right shape, so on to plan C. I discovered the shape was not completely off. It was fine in the middle and got worse towards the edges. So I cut the middle section out and shaped that to fit. After a bunch of shaping, I welded that in place. Then, I just made smaller patches for each of the side sections and welded them in place. Before moving on to the driver's side, I removed the lead between the panels. Before welding in the repair patches in each of the corner of the window channel, I wanted to get the correct position of the L-shaped bracket that goes across the bottom of the windshield. It became obvious to me right away that I was going to need the actual windshield to locate this and the corner pieces correctly. So up into the rafters I go to fetch the rear windshield, which is of course buried behind a bunch of stuff. Once I got it down, I took a few precautions to make sure the windshield did not get damaged while I was installing and removing it. I have every intention of using this exact windshield when I put the car back together, and I can't afford to damage it, so I figured an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of broken windshield. After placing the rear windshield back in the car, I made a number of markings. I marked the bottom of the windshield, then I held up the bracket to where I thought it fit best and made a number of markings to help me locate it once the windshield was removed again. I used sheet metal screws to secure the bracket in place, then placed the windshield back in. I had to repeat this process a number of times to locate the bracket. I welded the bracket back into place and moved on to replacing the corner pieces. I fabricated a patch for the driver's side just as I had for the passenger side. This one was a little bit smaller since the damage was not as bad on this side. I was able to locate this patch piece without having to place the windshield back in place. The patch was small enough and I could use the location of the bracket I just welded in to position the patch appropriately. I wasn't as lucky on the passenger side. On that side, I had to position the patch with the windshield in place and wound up installing and removing the windshield several times. And here are the final results after cleaning up all the welds and smoothing things out. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching.